This is the Perry Health Pulse podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Each week, we bring in healthcare professionals who can discuss those things that most people don't know about or even know to ask about sometimes. And in some cases, such as today, that's going to involve debunking some myths about nutrition and healthcare. Remember that you can access all of the Perry Health Pulse features. There's a blog, this podcast, of course, our email newsletter. All of those things are available at www.perrymemorial.org/pulse. You can also leave feedback or suggest topics from there. I'd love to hear what topic ideas you have and make those happen so that you can learn more. That's the entire purpose of this, to learn more about your health and wellness. Elise Borowski is joining us again today to give us another episode about nutrition and some common misconceptions about it. If you remember, Elise is a registered dietitian, and at Perry she offers nutrition therapy for patients. So welcome back, Elise.
Thank you for having me.
This month is June, Men's Health Month, so we wanted to have one that would gear a little bit more towards something that men tend to do, a habit, I would say more so amongst men. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably. Some women too.
Some women, absolutely. So in June, summer months, people tend to get in more of a habit of trying to look good, get their beach body going, get kind of bulked up. So one of those things that they do is using protein shakes or supplements or things like that. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So first of all, what are some of those products that people might use to bulk up?
So you kind of already hit on it. So protein shakes, protein bars, you see protein cookies now. There's additional supplements available. A lot of these are based on milk-derived products such as whey and casein. You'll see that a lot. And soy, which is a plant-based product. So they offer extra protein, and the concept behind it, or the thought behind it, is that it's supposed to help aid with toning up and building muscle.
When I've noticed at grocery stores, some are getting to where they have a whole aisle just for the things that you mentioned, and a lot of times with a big Mark Wahlberg cutout too.
Yeah. You have a lot of celebrity endorsements of these different products, yeah.
So which ones are better or safer to use?
So as a dietitian, we always promote food sources. Those are our best products when we're talking about protein sources. And milk it's an ideal, if you're looking for a protein supplement, that's your best protein supplement out there that's naturally occurring, because it has the proper portions of protein and carbohydrate to aid with protein synthesis. So when we're talking about protein synthesis, that's when we're talking about helping to repair and build those muscle tissues to make you stronger. And if you're looking to tone up, that will help with that as well. But when it comes to better or safer products, when we talk about the protein powders, the bars, all those extra supplements, we have to recognize, again, they are supplements and they're not regulated by the FDA. So when you're going to buy them, it might say it's a whey protein powder with so many ingredients, but it's not regulated, so it might have extra additives, or it might not even be the product that you think you're buying. There's no regulations on it. So when you're looking at products such as that, something that you'd want to look for is NSF certified for sport or certified by informed choice, because even though they're not regulated by the FDA, these products, are more, they're looked into a little bit more, so that we know that they're maybe a more regulated product than per se the ones that aren't.
So is there a little
certified.
bit more research behind those?
Well, not necessarily research, but we know that they've been investigated a little bit more thoroughly than other products that aren't certified by the NSF certified for sport or the informed choice.
Why aren't these supplements regulated by the FDA? Is it just not under its purview right now?
I think there's plans to begin trying to regulate it, but unfortunately we just aren't. It's not in the scope of the field of the FDA at the moment, but it should be. We want it to be, especially as dietitians or registered dietitians. We want anything that someone's ingesting to be regulated, just to ensure that it's safe for consumption and that people are in fact getting what they're paying for.
You mentioned that milk is the best.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a certain type of milk? Everyone gets hung up on whether to drink skim milk or whole milk or 2% and all that.
Honestly, I'm just happy you're drinking milk. So, again, like I said, milk has so many extra benefits. So not only are you getting the protein and the carbs, so even if you are drinking 2% skim or chocolate milk, you're still getting all those extra benefits, all those other nutrients such as calcium and vitamin D and all these other extra bonus items in the milk that you wouldn't get from your supplements.
So if someone's looking to build their muscles and exercise, when should they be consuming that protein?
So there's been a lot of research out there in the timing of when to consume protein and when it's best for muscle synthesis. And again, when I say muscle synthesis, I'm talking about building and toning your muscle. And although there's a lot of conflicting information, we do know that our body needs protein throughout the entire day, so not just during that time when you're working out. So it's recommended to spread that protein through 4 or 5 meals throughout the day to encourage muscle integrity and to keep up the strength of your muscles and to try to reduce the risk of that breakdown of your muscle. But there has been some research that supports the potential benefits of consuming protein after your workout within 2 to 3 hours of your workout. You might see some benefits and some better muscle synthesis or muscle protein toning.
So what are some other healthy alternatives to protein that might be more natural people could use?
So again, as registered dietitians, we prefer food sources for all of our energy and for protein sources. So animal-derived products such as milk, eggs, lean meats, your plant-based products such as nuts and nut butters, tofu for those adventurous people that provides a lot of protein in there as well. You can make smoothies out of it. But those are more natural. You know that there hasn't been any alteration. It hasn't been processed. You don't have to worry about it being regulated or unregulated. We know that it's safe for consumption.
I've seen a lot of times with wrestlers or people who are exercising a lot, they like the whole raw egg drink. Is that kind of where it comes from? They want to get a little protein from it?
So whether you cook the egg or whether you eat it raw, you're still getting the same amount of protein. Obviously, it is so much safer to cook the egg first. Please do that. We don't want to increase the risk of salmonella or other contaminants that might infect your body or your immune system, which would have the adverse effect. You would probably have some muscle decline versus synthesis in that case. But yeah, we want to stay safe. So cooking your eggs and everything is the way to go.
So what are the protein recommendations for exercise?
Okay, so it kind of depends on how active you are or what kind of activity you're doing. If you're an endurance athlete, so let's say you're a runner or a biker or doing something that takes a long time to do that exerts a little bit more energy, we're looking at about 1.2 to 1.4 grams per kilogram a day. And so that's technical terms or medical talk. But in order, we don't go by kilograms. We talk about pounds in the United States. So when we're talking about kilograms, all you do is take your weight and divide it by 2.2, and that's how you get your kilograms. And then if you're a strength trainer, so we're breaking down those muscles a little bit more because we're doing a lot more repetitions. You might be doing higher weights. So we want to try to repair that synthesis for those muscles. So it might be recommended to have about 1.6 to 1.7 grams per kilogram a day.
A big reason that protein shakes, supplements, all that are big is that people want to gain muscle fast. Can it be damaging to gain muscle too fast?
So there's a big misconception that if I eat all this protein, that means I'm going to have huge muscles. I'm going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, that's not really the case. So protein has a lot of different functions within our body. It regulates, or it's part of the hormone process, enzymes, a lot of different pathways within our body for functions and things of that nature. So not only is it building and repairing muscle, it's doing all these other things. Once it's reached its capacity and it's done what it needs to do, any extra protein that you're consuming will turn into fat. So because protein does have calories, so any overconsumption of any protein, fat, carbohydrate, it's going to lead to fat gain within our body. So that's another misconception. So it doesn't mean that just because I have protein, it equals muscle. What the protein does is it helps build that broken down muscle after the workout. So you have to have that strength training or lifting or cardio, whatever it might be, but at some point you've replenished the lost stores and you've maxed out. So even if you're having extra protein, it's not gonna hulk you up.
You don't want to consume enough protein for a marathon if you're only running a mile.
Precisely. Yes, that's exactly correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that's especially if you're using other products, which we're not recommending. We want to use natural stuff. Then you have to be very careful about not over consuming.
Right. And also one thing to remember too is our kidneys and our liver, they're also helping to process this extra protein or these extra supplements that we're taking in. So one way I had somebody recently tell me, our other dietitian, she put it perfectly. Essentially, if you're consuming too many supplements and protein and things of that nature, you're peeing out money. Like you're paying just to pee it all out because our kidneys are filtering it. And there is some research that still needs to be done in this, but there is some concern that it might cause some kidney damage or liver damage if we overconsume. We don't have strict research that can verify that at this moment, but there is some out there that does cause some concern. So we want to take care of our bodies too, not just be too concerned about the visual that we're trying to portray, but we want to be healthy as well.
I think today has been incredibly enlightening. For anyone out there who's currently using protein shakes, supplements, protein bars, things like that are not regulated, we highly recommend being cautious about that. Try to focus on food-based products, milk, eggs, those lean meats, things that taste good while you eat them and can benefit the body. Thank you very much, Elise.
Thank you so much.
We're very glad that you're taking the time to take an active role in your health and wellness. That is kind of the idea of this podcast. We want to be able to disseminate knowledge about your health and wellness straight from the mouths of professionals who experience and work with patients every day. This is something you can listen to on the go, and so we're glad that you're taking the time to do that. Again, you can access all of the PeriHealth Pulse materials, resources by going to perimemorial.org/pulse. Thanks for tuning in.